Hello, everyone. I'm MarLisa, and welcome to the Becoming a Magnetic Woman series. Today, I have Jessica Sharp with me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, but I feel like I want to start with, she just feels like a salve to all the things going on in the world today. She's a Reiki practitioner. She's an alignment specialist. She does soul retrieval. She's going to tell us about all these beautiful practices that help us come back to ourselves. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you so much for having me here and for those kind words. I'm touched. Thank you.
My pleasure. Would you tell us a little bit more about let's spend a little bit of time on Reiki, because I feel like people understand maybe the concept of it, but not the details. And then how this energy work that you do, how it helps us become magnetic to the things that are possible in our life.
Absolutely. Thank you. So Reiki is luckily becoming a little bit more mainstream in the last, I would say, 5 years. I've been doing this for 10 years. And it's a real joy. Basically, we're working with the energy of the body because we are more than just the physical form that moves around in the world. We have energetic frequencies, emotional frequencies. We have an aura, also sometimes called a toroidal field. So when I'm practicing Reiki with someone, I am really deeply connecting into the energy system of their body and helping to make sure that any blockages are alleviated, that energy is able to flow freely through the system, that their energy centers, which we call chakras, are healthy. And there's also a big education piece in it for me. I really love spending a lot of time with clients explaining to them, not just, okay, I did this, but like why and what's going on with their body in particular, and how can they carry forward visualizations or mantras or just some understanding about their energetic health and their emotional anatomy, because these are concepts that we're not taught in health class. So that's my favorite part about the work. Understanding this, understanding why our body does the things it does. For instance, what's behind back pain, what can be some of the emotional or energetic underlying factors between, liver issues or thyroid issues. All of these are just huge pieces of the puzzle to understanding ourselves. And that helps us have more compassion for our body rather than just saying, gosh, my body doesn't know how to work. What a piece of crap. Like, actually understanding the whys can help us feel empowered and compassionate to change that relationship, reframe our system.
I was just discussing with someone the other day how wonderful it is when you actually realize you do have pain or you are getting sick, because we usually think of it as I don't have time for this, but really it's the body cleansing itself. Like, it had a stressful time, and this is its way of sort of purging the energy. And that's what I think of Reiki. I have my level 1 Reiki as well. And I really wanted to learn about intuition and energy within myself, because I could feel energy in other objects like animals, even buildings, inanimate things, right? We're all so powerful that way, and we don't even realize it. But if you shared with someone, when you walk in this room or you go in a house and you know that it's for you, people can associate with that feeling. And that's vibrational frequency. So we all have it. Sometimes we just don't have the language for it.
Exactly.
And so with Reiki, I hear you saying you teach people how to hone that intuition in themselves. You help them remove blocks, and then you also encourage them to be a learned skill, because really the more you know about this, the better you can befriend yourself and know what's going on when these things come up, and understand other people too.
Yes. And I love how you use that word befriend. I love the concept of befriending the body, this, beautiful companion vessel that we've been taught, like, isn't the right shape or isn't doing the right stuff. And like, because we live in this culture that's very focused on separation or selling things to us, and really just completely decoupling from that system and really befriending our body, understanding innate power that lies within our thoughts, even within our emotions, within our body that we never learned about. There's a When I teach any age group, especially children, I like to share with them, this is, if we were living 5,000 years ago, I wouldn't be teaching this class because this would have been something that you already learned from birth. Um, your connection, deep connection to the earth, to the universe, your energetic power. But over the years, over the millennia, it's been chipped away at or called names like, I've heard it all: devil worship, witchcraft, voodoo, evil, magic. And you can really call it whatever you want. If you want to call it magic, call it magic. But in that case, it means that magic should never have been taken away from you because this is your birthright. Understanding your innate divinity is your birthright. So that's really the joy of the work for me.
And I love that you help people own that. It's like, I love with women, sharing with them that they're amazing, because for some reason that just saying that out loud helps people understand how powerful they really are, especially when they think of their partners or all the things they have to do or the workload that gets put on them. And I just share with them, that's because you're amazing, and not to do more or go to burnout. The same thing with the body, where it's like acknowledging the body's amazing and our natural ability to heal and know is amazing. It's time. Its time has come to be acknowledged. And can you tell us a little bit about soul revival? Because I feel like that practice is really important right now, because sometimes I would just share, sometimes we don't know why we're going through a loop. It's like we have a pattern and we can't quite figure out why, and we're not enjoying it. Like, we don't want to do that, but it's almost like we're having a hard time getting out of that loop. And I feel like that's what soul revival, what you've described to me, what it is. And I'd love for you to tell us more about it.
Yes, thank you. And I know exactly what you're talking about. It's almost like that record skip. Like, why do we keep coming back to blah, blah? So it's actually called soul retrieval. It's a shamanic technique that is about calling back fragments of the soul. Now, I am not a proper shaman, but I have been certified in certain shamanic techniques, including soul retrieval. So the concept behind it is that as we go through life, and depending on your spiritual beliefs, maybe lifetimes, plural, each time that we experience trauma or that we are taken advantage of, violated in some way, even if we act outside of our own principles, or we harm others, that a piece of our soul, not our day-to-day energy that replicates constantly, but our actual soul, will fragment off and stay in that moment of time space. So then, as we're moving forward in linear time, we end up with this energetic Swiss cheese factor in our body that makes it hard to do a few things. It becomes really hard to set boundaries. It becomes really hard to understand sovereignty because we're leaking energy out. And also, it's very easy for other people's energy to worm its way in or be absorbed by us. It's hard to negotiate or differentiate where we stop and other people begin. It makes relationships challenging. So, soul retrieval is the act of just kind of pausing, cleansing the body of any energies that have been absorbed from others, and then calling back those fragments of soul and reunifying them, sealing them back into the system. Um, because I say shamanic because it is considered a spiritual practice. Um, More so than maybe a Reiki session, or even something more medical like an acupuncture session would be. It's very focused on spirit, and the big deep energy of the cosmos, but it's fantastic and fascinating. The first time I had a soul retrieval, I joke that it's kind of like I felt like I went from BC to AD. The shift was that significant in how emotionally mature I was able to feel afterwards.
What I hear you describing is very similar to, what we have challenges with in today's society with boundaries, having boundaries, or perhaps describing codependency, where
Yeah.
if we've been brought up to be codependent, we've been brought up to care like others' feelings. If others are not having a great feeling, it's because of us, and those types of things. And so I feel like this would be such a great practice to either start that journey of really understanding boundaries, and
Mhm.
boundaries are really kind. Boundaries are a container. They're not a line in the sand and it's like do not cross. And
Mhm.
that's something that I like to highlight because I feel like boundaries have kind of gotten a little sassy lately. Like, you know what I mean? It's really, again, it's about me instead of about us. And when you're talking about this practice, it feels like really just coming back to your inner compass is what it describes. And so it could be a great practice to start that
Yeah.
journey of learning about boundaries,
Oh, absolutely.
or perhaps if you're getting stuck somewhere, again, to have that cleansing of it. I feel like that is the number one thing going on for people right now, is the understanding of where I end and you begin.
Yes. And again, these are things that we're not taught, and we kind of have to seek out teachers, like consciously seek them out that can help us begin to put these pieces together because it's not part of our cultural lexicon, just, that we learn in school or even in college. So yeah, it's very, very important. Um, yeah, thank
Can
you.
you, can you tell us a little bit more about, you know, your practice in particular? Because I know that you do offer online classes as well as in person. And I feel like that's sort of one of the benefit that's come out of this time for us, is that we've connected with people virtually anywhere. And now it means we can connect with the right person over time and space. And that you can do things with a group, or that you can do things one-on-one, or both, again, whatever's suited for the person.
Exactly. Yes. COVID really made made a lot of us have to pivot. Especially like I had kind of built my whole practice on not my whole practice, but most of it was focused on in-person work. So then it was a beautiful challenge to step into more of a virtual space. Now, I've always done both in-person treatment and remote treatment. Some of my first clients were deployed military. The reason that works is because energy doesn't have to follow the same rules and parameters that physical matter does. The energy that I'm working with exists in the quantum. So therefore, I'm able to put myself into a meditative state and connect with anyone's energy wherever they are in the world. So that's something that was always a part of it. And with the classes, though, that was something that was new to me. And I have continued as I've been able to get back into my treatment space, continue to teach a mentorship program in person. I also teach some workshops in person just for people to learn about, self-care and how to start to understand the basics of their energy body. But I also have begun teaching online. Um, on Zoom, same 100-hour mentorship program. And it's been so wonderful to connect with people all over the country, and to all learn together. So that program for this year is actually wrapping now. I'm just in the process of filling out my students' master level certificates, and we'll be starting another cohort in September. This one's going to be hybrid. So I'll have in-person students here in my office, and also the capacity for people to join us on Zoom. That way, both people who are in the Maryland area, in the States, and also all over the country get to learn together, which is going to be really exciting.
And can you tell us a little bit about that journey that they go through? And I'm sure this journey could be done with you privately or in a group setting, but just so we can understand a little bit more about, I feel like your practice is really multifaceted and it helps people take charge of themselves and their own life. Like you're talking about sovereignty, it really gives you the grounding to make your decisions. And then we're talking about being magnetic, that either draws the people in or it repels the things that aren't for you. And so really getting that energy system, that mindset, all of those things together humming is, I feel like, an overview of what your practice is. But just, I was wondering a little bit more detail perhaps into some of the curriculum, just to give us a bit of a taste of what you do.
Sure. So for the mentorship program, it's mainly focused on people who would like to become a professional practitioner for the public. So there's a huge focus on ethics, because we need to be, I mean, there's unfortunately, because Reiki specifically is a self-regulated modality, there could be a lot of projection happening, a lot of boundaries crossed, a lot of practitioners getting into the work maybe for the wrong reasons. So we really focus throughout the entire year from September to June on ethics, and cover other things that would help them become a principled practitioner. Um, we cover energy sensing in the hands. We spend a lot of time on that. Um, Learning how to both connect really deeply and disconnect from clients so we're not taking their stuff home with us. Um, there's a lot of focus on trauma informed work because trauma is, luckily, and thank goodness, something that we're learning much more about now. The somatic implications, the energetic implications, um, the mental excuse me, implications of how trauma can affect the physical body. So we learn lots of trauma informed work. And then uh, other specifics like how to treat children, how to treat animals, how to treat, people in hospice or the elderly. And we do deep dives into chakras. But the reason that it's so long is because I want them to not only like get a bunch of information and theory, but also have the time and space to really dive deep into their own motivations for being a healer and motivations for wanting to do this work for the public, because we really need to be doing our own healing, our own exploration, and what I call self excavation. We can only take our clients as deep as we're willing to go ourselves. So having that journey and being alongside others in a cohort as we do it is really important. Now, switching gears, talking about just more like the self-care workshops, we cover the chakras pretty in depth. Covering the chakras is a great way of just understanding like human behavior and personal development. And oh, that's why that hurts. We touch a little bit on practices that can be done for the health of each chakra. And then we learn how to actually send energy through the body. Channeling it with breath, channeling it with mindful intention, and even hand placements. So it's really a joy, and something I've been doing for a long time, and I'm looking forward to doing it, continuing to do it for a long time.
Would you share with us perhaps a few of the self Reiki, the positions? Would you take us through a short self Reiki session, just so we could share with people how impactful their own energy is to heal themselves?
Yes, absolutely. So one of my favorite techniques to use is focused on the heart and the heart chakra. Now, I know this series is for the givers, right? And people who may have historically been trained to not have boundaries, trained to always be anticipating other people's needs. When that happens, when we are so vigilant to the giving that we have to do, our actual heart chakra is like beaming out at that, when we do that, but then there can be this moment where it cracks and there's like a split almost, if you will. And then it's not just radiating, it's actually leaking. You know, it It's the difference between, you know, a light bulb shining and then like a broken jar or a hose that's left on all night. So I will be, I mean, honestly, I have felt this pattern in almost every person I've worked on since coming back to in-person work after COVID. This is something, you know, we've all kind of been through this collective trauma. We all are just broken open. So I like to work with the heart chakra, visualizing a heat lamp. There's a heat lamp in an incubator. It's warm, it's radiant, it's life-giving, it's giving, but it is able to do that because the energy stays inside of it. So we can definitely walk through just kind of a visualization with this. And I invite who's ever listening to just kind of take a moment, eyes open or closed, it really doesn't matter. Just feeling where you are in your seat, feeling what is supporting you right now, what is holding you up. Recognizing that it's safe to soften into that support. And placing one or two hands on your heart. We'll begin to envision, imagine that there's a beautiful circle of light surrounding your heart organ and your heart chakra. Really focused on the edges of this ball of light and how it is its own beautiful boundary, its own beautiful container that will help your heart glow and still radiate the love, the warmth, the care to all of the people around you. Still allows your heart to be the beacon and connect you to others through love. But there's no cracks, no fissures. You are also able to retain that energy for yourself. And that glow of the heart isn't just radiating outward. It's also trickling through your whole body, up, across, down, bathing all the parts of you, every cell, every nerve ending in this gorgeous light. Because that leak is fixed. And you get to retain full access to your own power. This is something that you can picture at any time. When you're driving, when you're cooking, when you're falling asleep. And it's your intention that makes it real. So maybe taking one more deep breath here to come back into awareness of the present moment and also what's around us. Yeah, that is a big part of my daily practice. It's just figuring out what needs some care and where might I be sending out a little too much.
Thank you for that. That was beautiful. I feel like when you put your hands on your heart, it's you can't not tell the truth. Does that make sense? Like even if it's clouded or you're not sure, not that you would ever want to lie, purposely lie to yourself, if you're unclear of something or you're not sure of your truth, I find that if I put my hand on my heart, I can only speak what is deep, deep down. And so that's also another great practice if you're unsure about something, is to do do that just for a few minutes, right? It's so powerful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
I
Thank
was
you.
pushing really hard on my heart. I guess it needed some love during that, needed some attention.
Yeah, that pressure and warmth is like, what I mean, what a balm, like, and we forget that we can offer just everything that we need. Not, of course, asterisk, right? Not everything, but so much of
How self-sufficient we really are. Yeah, well, creators, right? What creators we are. Yes. And on that note, you have gifted us some beautiful oracle cards, and I have them here. There's a couple pages of them, and I just feel like, again, they're a connection. They would be great to have in your morning ritual area, your sanctuary area, or perhaps even by your desk at work when you need to have a moment to remind yourself of who you are. That they're beautifully, the pictures are beautiful and the words and everything. So we're going to link that up for everybody below. And I wanted to thank you for that, because it's an example of something that we can do. It's very doable, that can start changing the patterns in our day. So I really appreciate that. And we are also going to link up a way to connect with you if people would like to do that. And I'm so glad that they got to experience a little bit of this work you do that is so healing and generous. And I wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. It is truly, I love how, you and I both use the word dharma. And it's when you find the thing that brings you so much joy and you get to do that, like it is the greatest gift. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak to it. I really just appreciate you and all of the, blessings that you're giving with this series. There's going to be people who are very touched by this, and I'm so excited and grateful.
Thank you. And we also both believe that we're better together as a community. And that's what this is all about, and sharing with others. So I appreciate you coming on to share your community with us, Jessica.
Thank you so much, MarLisa. This has been such a treat.
It's been lovely having you. Thank you.